Ahoy hoy gang, if this is your first time with us, welcome, and if you're joining us from a previous video, hey, we love to see it, and I hope you're doing well. It's time for the last, at the time of writing this, available season of American Dad to do a top 5 of Season 18. There's a lot of fantastic episodes to get into, and I don't want to sit around and wait, so it's time to ask, what were the top 5 episodes of Season 18? Number 5. Multiverse of American Dadness. It had to be somewhere on this list, so it might as well be here. Just get it out of the way. Multiverse of American Dadness is a top 5 episode, but it's also just kind of fine. I don't know. Personal opinion, I would have liked to have seen more evil Steve. I would have liked if he wasn't taken out in the first bit. Now, that being said, I get why. It's a great subversion of expectations. It makes a lot of sense. It's just, come on, give us a little bit more. It's just the Haley wanting Steve back, Haley wanting to bond with Steve element. It's good. It's a great way to build up the second half of an episode. But the first half, it didn't need to go on that long. There was a lot of fat that could have been trimmed in a multiverse episode. I don't know. The Principal Lewis stuff does have a funny payoff at the end with Shuggy, but in the beginning, it's just kind of there. They're just kind of spinning their wheels and being exposition Lewises to try and get the story going again. And I don't hate that. I just wish that it was a little bit more substantial. It's not bad. It's just not great. Multiverse is, again, a celebration of American Dad. It's a showcase of where American Dad's been, where it's going, and how it's curated such a wonderful audience through all these years. There's again, a genuine heart to American Dad. There's a care to American Dad. And I think Multiverse, if it was made by a lesser writing team, if it was made by a lesser creative team, would have just been a best of compilation that didn't really do anything. Instead, they give us universes like the Oops All Berries or a world where everyone is bulls. It's like, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. I see your where satire worked universe, and I'll raise you bull. And it's fun. It's a good, fun celebration. I think that's why I'm not too critical on it. Is that at the end of the day, Multiverse of American Dadness is just a fun celebration that isn't trying to overcomplicate itself. Number 4, better on paper. I don't know. I really appreciate a good, romantic Stan and Francine story, and I adore the fact that Stan really does want to be his best self for Francine. He knows Francine can get anyone. He knows that he has to compete constantly, and here he is trying his best, getting the family involved to make sure he can be as romantic as possible, just to find out that his brain in a printer is romancing her, and he decides to weaponize it. He decides to use that printer to show Francine he loves her more than anything, and it's great. Between the printer's heartfelt song that has the greatest line ever uttered to actually enjoying Dr. Weitzman. I will admit, I am actually a fan of Dr. Weitzman in this episode. This season rehabilitated Dr. Weitzman in my eyes, and I gotta again say, like, everybody is putting in a ton of effort, even 18 seasons in. Someone did say that they noticed that Roger sounds off in the newer episodes, and I genuinely think it's just vocal fray. Like, you have to remember, these people have been doing these characters for years, and it is going to start to wear thin. They're going to have to drop decibels to hit those same voices. They're going to have to adjust their pitches, and it's a tricky thing to do, especially when you've been doing it, again, for over 300 episodes. But I think Better on Paper is a solid celebration of what Stan and Francine have had. It's a great episode that feels like it could be a Fox era episode in a lot of ways. It's got some CIA hijinks, but it also just has that weird, almost manic energy that makes TBS so great. I don't know. I wasn't as huge on the robot uprising at the end of the episode, but it still felt perfectly in line with what American Dad does, and I was completely fine with it at the end of the day. I went back and I revisited it and I was like, you know what? Any complaints I have are marginal at best. This is still a fun episode. This still got me to crack up. I'm a fan. Number 3, Fellow Traveler. I can't describe why I really love this episode other than just a deep love of those kind of wanderer episodes of old TV shows like The Incredible Hulk, like Knight Rider. It's just, I don't know. Fellow Traveler is so tongue-in-cheek in the best possible way and gives you everything you could possibly need from a Roger origin story if you absolutely needed one. It, again, like I said in the big review, you don't have to watch it. It does not have to be taken seriously. But if you do take it seriously, it's perfectly fine. It sets everything up as it needs to be. I really like that you have Bullock Sr. and Bullock Jr. and the whole intro is like, fellow traveler. It's just, there's so many references. There's so many nods to classic like 80s and 90s rock and TV. And it's just, it's fun. It's so much fun, and I love that they're having fun with a season premiere, again, 18 seasons in. And it's just, how do you make something like that? How do you keep coming up with ideas after this long that are actually good, that are actually entertaining? Like when I was making this top 5 list, there were plenty of episodes I wanted to put in here that Fellow Traveler beat out. And it's just like, that is the magic of it. Being able to see Roger take on not only his own identity and grow in this episode, figure out his personas, figure out who he is, it's also just a great standalone adventure. It's just a great little, blip. And I don't ever want to see anything built on in Fellow Traveler. I don't want a spin-off series. I don't need anything like that. If they do go too deep into it, if they involve the alien again, if they make it a deeper, longer narrative, I genuinely think it's a detriment to the show. Because you just need that quick, you're in, you're out. Peppers and radiation, bye, have a beautiful time, thank you for watching. Fellow Traveler asked the question of, hey, do you think we've earned enough goodwill with the audience that we can make an episode like this and they're just going to be along for a good ride? And the answer is yes. Especially with last season's Gold Top Nuts, Echoes, Beyond the Alcove, what have you. Episodes like this are going to be way more celebrated. And Season 18 doesn't have as many experimental episodes, but the bop episodes that they do have are super stellar. Number 2, the Pink Sphinx holds her hearts on the turn. I am a sucker for a good gambling episode or gambling series. Again, read Usogwi. It is a phenomenal read. Maybe I'll do a review of it. Maybe I won't. Who knows? Who cares? But the Pink Sphinx holds her hearts on the turn is easily one of the best Francine episodes ever written. Not only do we get Frog Rose, we get Roger as the gambler, and yeah, we have Francine trying to show that she's not an idiot to her kids. A recurring theme that's been around since like season 1, and it's still popping up. She still wants to be respected. She still wants to show that she can have a poker face, and I adore that. Francine is the least one-note cartoon mom ever written. She has so many different facets to her character, and I genuinely think the Pink Sphinx is a great encapsulation of all of that. You get a little bit of dumb Franny, you get a little bit of headstrong Franny, and you get Franny that's just cynical and dark when she wants to be, and it's great. And again, Wendy Shaw does an amazing job. She is fantastic. I also really love the aesthetic of the episode. Like, I know that sounds super minor, but just having that air of it not just being reused set pieces over and over again, it's nice to have the back of a grocery store, a bayou bog. Having those more eccentric landscapes elevates the episode as a whole. The jokes are really solid. Again, Frog Rose being related to Frog Ross, the foie gras restaurateur, is a great touch. It didn't need to happen. It doesn't really carry any additional narrative weight. It's just a fun relationship between the two. I don't know. It is one of my absolute favorite episodes of American Dad, and I'm so glad it got made. And the fact that I can say that 18 seasons in about any episode is truly and genuinely incredible, because I know I couldn't say the same about Family Guy. I would be struggling to come up with a top 5 list of season 18 of Family Guy, because I've seen season 18, and it's almost unwatchable. So I genuinely appreciate the effort that went into making this season of American Dad truly something spectacular. Number 1, Footprints. It's just a good Stan and Roger episode. Again, I know I'd probably expecting Multiverse or something in the #1 spot, but there's a charm to Footprints. Footprints feels like the ultimate Brian and Peter episode we never got. If you ever had to do, this is the last episode that Stan and Roger ever interact in again, Footprints is the episode to do it. Footprints is how you make something great. Also, and I didn't give her proper flowers, huge shout out to Alana Ubach in this episode, and in Ted. She's just fun. I love hearing her voice. I grew up with Beakman's World, so every time I see her, I'm like, oh, well, that's so cool. And it's just, like, on top of having one of the strongest Stan and Roger episodes of the entire show, you have a B story focused around Jeff losing his hat, which is a callback to Mean Francine from, like, season 12 or 11, that somehow has been a thing all the way to season 18, where they involve Parker as the guy that took his hat. And it's just like, why? Why did any of this have to happen? But then it's like, okay, I'm kind of about it though. Where does this go? Oh, he just finds it and he's good to go? That is genuinely the most Jeff thing imaginable. Where he just goes in the back, he ruins all the diabolical scheming and just goes, oh, there's my hat. Okay, thanks, bye. And it's just like, oh, I adore when Roger is off-world and Stan makes the, like, homage to his best friend, and there's just a guy in a gray alien suit trying to reenact all these different things that they've done through the years. And it's so good and so poignant. It's nice that they have a bond over trying to find their footprint in the world, trying to find their purpose. And I just... Footprints just sort of resonated with me in a way that I could not find in any other series. Plus, I mean, it's also got, you know, Diedrich Bader and it's just such a good episode. It's an episode I find myself revisiting a lot, and I don't revisit the newer seasons as much as I revisit the old seasons. So coming back to Footprints frequently says something about it. The fact that it can stand up against older seasons, and the fact that I would even say that compared to like Rabbit Ears and Gold Top Nuts, it's a strong third place as far as top ones go, says a lot. It's not a bad episode at all. It's probably some of the strongest writing the show has had in a long time, and I am here for it. It's just Footprints is peak. It's just good daddage. And there we have it. That was season 18. Overall, not as experimental as season 17, but still great American Dad. Again, it showed that season 16 was a blip and not the new norm. Between the Pink Sphinx and Fellow Traveler to a multiverse of just good American Dad stuff, it is just a wonder that this show has been around for this long and had this amazing of an impact. I don't know what season 19 will hold. Obviously, this was the last season made before the writer's strike, so we don't know. Obviously, we're probably going to get fewer episodes in this next season. I don't know what the quality of that next season is going to be, but I'll just honestly be glad to have more American Dad. Even if we don't get any more episodes after this contract ends, and the end of American Dad is sooner around the corner than any of us would prefer, I can honestly confidently look back at this project and every American Dad video I've made previously and go, I'm glad I made this. I'm glad I could get any amount of attention to a show that has been creative for almost 20 years at this point. That has been willing to take viewers on incredible adventures that made them elevate their comedy and elevate their knowledge. American Dad has been and will forever be one of the greatest animated series of all time, and I'm so glad I've gotten to share my passion for it with all of you. And I've learned a lot about it by talking with all of you and reading your incredible comments. There's so much we can appreciate about a series when we all collectively love it. And I have been very blessed to be able to experience this amazing journey with all of you. That being said, for the last time, for a moment, I have to ask, what were your top 5 episodes of season 18? Anything you think I was right on, wrong on? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked what you saw, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, thank you all so much for watching. This was part of my 18 videos in 18 days that turned into 21 videos in 21 days. And it has been an absolute delight going through all of this with you. I do have some other videos I want to hopefully get out soon, but for now, stay strong, stay you, know that you are loved, appreciated, and I believe in you. Keep fighting that good fight. I'll see you all next time, when hopefully I have Bob's Burgers or Archer done. If not, it's time to get our muscle on with everyone's favorite masked wrestler, Kenny Kuman. I'll see you all next time.